So cool. Make with the intro.
Make it with the intro. Okay. Hi, YouTube. It's Ed, aka BumbleJumper82, and we are back with my good pal Arrowfire for BumbleFyre Fest. We are returning.
We are back. You tried to get rid of us, but we came back on your screens.
But today, would you like to introduce the episode that we are reviewing?
Yes, so we are reviewing the Generation 1 episode B.O.T. Bot. Now, a quick synopsis to this episode. There is a robot that is created by some high school students. At the same time, the Combaticons decide to get blown up very quickly, and some missing components get entwined with this robot. Megatron tries to harness energy from an ocean and create a big cannon. The robot comes to save the day. Big whoop.
I think it was just one component that they put into Bot. I believe it was a personality component, and I think Swindle puts a load of stuff in a tip, isn't it? It's like a refuse site. After he sells parts, he sells the parts of the Combaticons which are valuable to arms dealers in different countries, which we'll get into.
We'll get into that, yeah. But it's a bit interesting though that the students felt a need to to install a component which was a personality chip, which kind of is the laws of robotics that robots don't have feelings. So if they got this far to build a robot, and they obviously know what they're doing, don't give the robot feelings or a personality.
Although there is a little bit of lore attached to this episode, because this is pre the whole concept of a spark. So essentially what they're saying in this episode is that the personality component makes you who you are.
It is. It's basically the personality component is the spark, and this robot has been constructed cold. That we've now actually gone on and learned since from IDW comics and the like that you can be constructed cold and have a spark put in rather than just born into your body. So it can be done. I wonder if that's a bit of a happy coincidence, though, rather than intertwining through history. And on to commercial break. This is the part of the show where we try and work out what toy we are trying to be sold by Hasbro from this episode. So, Ed, Mr. Bumblejumper, what toy do you think we are trying to be sold?
I'm going to go with the fairly obvious one of the Protector Bots, because they're front and center in this episode. You see their base, you see them combined. And Defensor is pretty epic in this episode. There's a part near the end when they combine into Defensor and the screen goes all shiny and they make the sound. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a very good shout. Am I right in thinking that this is the first outing of the Protector Bots in the series? Do we see them before this?
I think we do see them before this because they face off against Bruticus in one of the Starscream ones. I think the Revenge of Bruticus, not Starscream's Brigade, the second one.
But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I've actually got Defensor or Bruticus, the Combaticons. They get a good showing in this one. Really, at this point in the series, from Starscream's Brigade onwards, the Combaticons actually get quite a lot of screen time. They appear quite a bit. I do think it's a bit silly, and I'll probably mention this a bit later, that whilst Bruticus is shown quite a bit, he's taken out with one shot very early on. So yeah, either or for me, the Protector Bots or the Combaticons.
And now it's time for our favourite moments. And I quite enjoyed this episode. I feel like you didn't. So I get the feeling that I've got more favourite moments than you. So I'm going to say you go first.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so my favourite moment is actually, as I just alluded to with the commercial break, was the one line from Defensor. Now, Defensor, as cool as he is a little bit of a square. I think it's fair to say he's a bit violable and robotic, dare I say. But I liked it. My favourite moment was in the beginning where the Combaticons turn into Bruticus and everyone's running in panic and he's marching down the street. Gets taken out with one shot. And the line from Defensor is, call sanitation. There's junk all over the streets. And I'm like, he's cracking wise. What about you?
Okay, when Gears says, when they're in the school, this is so degrading after basically Gears, Bumblebee, and Ironhide get beaten up by a child science project, which is pretty hilarious.
Show and tell.
My other favorite moment, and this I considered a little bit brutal, but Megatron puts a time bomb inside Swindle's head. You've got to rebuild the Combaticons or it's going to go off. Very Suicide Squad-y. But you can hear certain parts of the episode where it's ticking in his head. You can hear the ticking, and then the Autobots go around the corner, and there's Swindle. So that must be pretty harsh to hear the actual time bomb in your head, because he is literally on the clock.
I can maybe forgive Megatron taking some precautions. Murdering his own troops, let's just say it's a very Decepticon way of doing things. Yeah, Megatron felt a need to make sure that he wasn't going to swindle his way out of this one.
Thanks, Dad.
Puns are gone. And that leads on to the worst moment. So, Ed, what is the worst moment for you in this episode?
Well, I think my worst moment, I've got a couple, but I think the main one is Megatron's disruptor weapon. So he's going to use this to move the moon out of the way and then control the tides. However, he uses it as a test run on the Autobots' Ark base. B.O.T goes in and he starts controlling it. So Bruticus gets flummoxed and then ends up getting shot. However, there's a very, very obvious button that says overload, and if you press it, the whole thing explodes. Why would you build that? What are you doing, Megatron?
Every bomb needs a failsafe, and clearly the Decepticons were too prepared. I would have said it seems to make quite a sizable explosion come the end of it. Press the overload button and throw it at the Ark. You know, it's a one and done, but it's clearly quite powerful. Love it.
The other thing I was going to mention is there's a bit of a scale thing in this episode. They go into the high school, and Ironhide can easily fit through the doors in a kid's high school. And then when they going up the steps into it, everything is huge. So the kids look tiny and the bots look normal size. So they didn't really think about the logistics of the Autobots running around a high school. But I think artistic license, you kind of let it go.
Scale completely goes out the window. At a few points in the cartoon, the closer you get to season 3.
Well, this is the closest you can get to season 3, isn't it? It's the last episode of season 2.
There you are. You have arrived at your destination.
And your worst moments, if you please.
Well, my worst moments really is one moment that gets thrown out in this, and I was much more aware of it watching it this time around, is the shortness of the clips. So we know, and I remember my parents hating this when watching it with me as a kid, the screen swapping from Autobot to Decepticon and back again, the flashback or change of scene. There's a lot of that in this episode, to the point that I don't think the individual clips can be much longer than 20 seconds, 15, 20 seconds. There's a few lines of dialogue, and it's a screen change, and it's a screen change, and it's another one. And it's very disjointed.
I feel in many ways that this episode, being the last episode of season 2, was a bit thrown together. I think they had an idea and they thought, right, we'll just quickly chuck something together, and then that's it. And then let's start selling the toys from the movie. Okay, it's pub quiz time. And this is the part of the show where Arrowfire and I will go head to head with 3 questions and 1 tiebreaker relating to the episode. So why don't you play along at home? As this is such an excellent episode, we'll say. There are a number of things that you could choose as questions. Who's going to go first on the questions?
I will go first.
Oh, before we do, what are you drinking?
I was drinking coffee.
Coffee. Okay, it's a gastropub. I've got a kind of Pepsi Max with raspberry.
But other brands are available.
They are, but Pepsi Max is probably the best Coke with no sugar in it, I reckon.
Pepsi, it'll do.
Oh, I'm Team Pepsi. I've always preferred Pepsi.
I probably have as well, but if you literally put them side by side in an unmarked can, particularly on a night out, I probably couldn't tell the difference. Especially on a
night out, you can't tell the difference between water and wine, probably.
Who told you that? So to start off with question number 1, Mr. Bumblefuhr, my question for you.
Okay.
At near the start of the episode, as you alluded to, Swindle gets an added incentive to repair his comrades. He gets a period of time to do this. How long does Megatron give Swindle to repair his comrades?
I believe it's 15 hours, which is a bit of a random one, but I think it's 15.
It is. Congratulations.
You
You
see,
get a
I would have
point.
thought 12 or 24, but why would Megatron care about human timings? In fact, why would he care about hours at all? Why didn't he go
Why are
with
they?
fractals or something?
Why are they measuring in hours at all? It's a humanoid concept, but they're on Earth. They're working to Earth hours, I suppose. But yes, 15 hours. You are correct.
Yes, that's 1-0.
That is one.
Okay, my first question. Let's consult the questions. Okay, so this one you'll probably get. At one point, the three children, they're high school kids, but I consider them children, are driving along and they are tracking the waves from, I think it's from the Decepticons underwater base. Anyway, they're driving in, is it Elise or Elsie?
I
Elise.
can't. I can't. Okay,
I think
that's
it's
fine.
Elise. They're driving along in Elise's car. She's driving. What car is she driving? It's a very iconic car, especially in Transformers. That's a huge clue.
Not the Lamborghini. Oh, hold on.
She's a high school driving a Lamborghini. Nice.
Well, we're trying to think of cars.
Think about
Datsun.
one of no. Think about a specific mini bot, which is very highly
Mini
featured.
bot.
Yeah, it's a mini bot, a very popular one.
Mini Cooper.
Do you give up?
Go on. I'll give up.
It's a convertible Volkswagen Beetle. It's a red one.
I remember it being red. I don't recall it being a V.
Yeah, it's a
What did
Beetle.
I? What did I? It's Bumblebee.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What did I just say before that answer then?
Uh, when you said Lamborghini Countach,
Yeah.
I kind of switched off.
Sorry, that's kind of what I meant, but yeah, all right. No, I didn't get that one. I remember it being red. I remember it being a convertible, but no, I didn't quite get that one.
I thought that was an easy question. Oh dear.
Evidently not. No, I'll have to concede that one. Well done. 1-0 to you in the first round. Similarly to the same discussion, for my next question for you. What does Megatron threaten to do to Swindle? What did he threaten to turn him into if he pulls this stunt again?
Oh, that's it's on the tip of my tongue. It
You get
scraps
this.
something.
It's very close. If you get
scrap-titanium or scrap-titanium.
you're very right. Scrap-titanium. Yeah. But yeah, I didn't think you get that one. That's very good. 2-0 to you as it stands. Well done.
Okay. So my second question to you, and this ties into one of our previous BFFs. So at the final battle, the Decepticons are assembled. They've got their weapon. There are a number of Decepticons in the background. One of the Coneheads is present. Although Starscream and Skywarp are there, one of the Coneheads, and I've always said Coneheads, they're background characters, but which Conehead is in the background?
Now, that's unkind because I said to you before, I can't name all the Coneheads. So even if I've got the right one in my mind in terms of colour scheme,
Is it because they're background characters? Is that why you can't?
It's because I do not give a about them. I don't care. I can name the Seekers. I could probably name the Rainmakers, but I can't name the Coneheads because I don't care about them. I never bothered to learn their names or take the time. No, that's a nasty question from you. A nasty question for you to pick on my Achilles heel that you know from a previous one. But fine, if you want to win that way, play those kind of tactics, fine. Ramjet.
Yes, it was Ramjet, the white one.
33 chance, 33% chance.
I think that's,
I guess.
Well, it's 1 in 3, and it's the one that people always forget about because I always think about Thrust because he's the one with the rotors. You always remember Thrust. Dirge is the one I always forget about because he's kind of blue and yellow and doesn't really do anything. And then I think of Ramjet because of G2 Ramjet because he was the one that was ported over and he was the purple and teal one. So yeah, it was Ramjet.
What a guess.
So it's 2-1, I believe.
2-1. And
your last question.
Yeah, so last question. So what are the names of the two lads, the two high school boys that we see in this episode? What are their names?
Okay. Right. Oh no. Okay. One of them's called Roland. What's the other
Yep.
one called? There's one. The
You
one
said it
called
already.
Roland he's got braces on, and the other one has got like a brown suit type thing on. Oh no, what is his name? Martin and Roland.
Yeah, Martin and Roland. Very good. You said it earlier in the episode, so I thought you would have got that. So there
Ah,
you go. And if you got another question, we might as well throw it out. But then I
yeah.
can't. I
Let's
can't.
stick it in. You can't win now. It's penalty shootout.
Can't
But
win.
let's for the people at home. I'll do my last question. What is the name of the high school that the kids go to?
All right, Chris McFeely. Um, I couldn't even guess. I couldn't even guess in this episode.
It's a former president, but with something else added to it.
Nixon Gate.
Nixon Gate. Who's naming the high school after Nixon?
Look, come on. How many presidents have there been? We're going to be here for a month of Sundays if I try and work that out. 80, Ronald Reagan. I don't know. Okay, give me a letter that it starts with, and I'll take a stab.
B.
Biden.
No, this was 1985. Oh, yeah, having a
He's
nightmare.
probably around in 1985. I think almost definitely was.
He was probably about 60 back then.
Maybe. B. No, I don't get it. I did not notice. Go on. What is it?
Okay, it was Benjamin Franklin Pierce. Now, it was a strange one because Benjamin Franklin, obviously former president, but Benjamin Franklin Pierce is a character from the TV show MASH. Now, that is a weird one.
That is obscure. But there you go. You have won the quiz yet again with some hard questions and one dirty question thrown in for that. So congratulations for your hollow victory. Not that I'm having a tantrum or anything of the kind. Congratulations on your victory, Mr. Bumblejumper.
Thank you.
Okay, so what's our summary to this episode? What did you learn and what do you take away from this episode as a whole? So, Mr. Bumblejumper, what did you take away from this episode?
Well, I took away that high school students are obviously quite advanced in robotics in good old Benjamin Franklin Pierce High School.
For me, what did I take away from the episode? It showed that you can really put two storylines that have no resemblance to one another, put them together and call it a 22-minute episode because you've got Megatron trying to affect the tides for energy and energon and creating a big laser. You also got kids creating a robot that really, the two could be standalone episode storylines in their own rights, but you could really throw anything together if you squint hard enough.
Okay, the elephant in the room, we haven't mentioned it, the very, very last moment of the episode, it's not going to fly in this day and age. It's a little bit when you watch it. Shall we tackle the elephant in the room?
I feel like we're going to get a reputation in this, following on from our previous episode of The Girl Who Loved Power Glide. Yes, another instance of heating up a girl, shall we say, because that's actually what happens around her mouth because she's a bit of a chatterbox. So it's the idea to quieten her down a bit tongue-in-cheek, but it looks, again, another showing of male chauvinistic behavior that hasn't aged well over a 40-year span.
So would you watch this episode again, given the chance?
I probably would, actually, as it goes. Whilst it's not my favourite episode, I've got better ones. It's actually not awful. You do see a lot of the other Transformers in it. We see Gears, we see the Protector Box. I actually do think this is one of the better showings of the Protector Box. So from that element, I would watch this episode again. How about you?
Yeah, same. I think it's quite fun. I think B.O.T is fun. I wouldn't mind if someone did a little version of B.O.T.
So we'll finish off now with future recommendations. So if you've enjoyed watching this episode and you want to see us go through a G1 or other episodes again, do leave a note in the comments below as to which episodes from which series you'd like us to watch and have a tackle of in the next episode of BumbleFyre Fest.
And once again, as I was successful in the quiz, unfortunately, my friend, you have to do the forfeit.
Thank you for watching this episode of BumbleFyre Fest. If you want to catch more of our content on our own separate channels, do follow this man here on BumbleJumper82. You will find him on YouTube, particularly doing some very good videos around hauls and unboxing. You'll also find my own channel of Arrowfire under YouTube doing various other Transformers videos. Watch our channels for future Bumblefire Fest content.
So thanks once again to my partner in crime, Mr. Arrowfire, for reviewing this excellent episode of B.O.T.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.
And take care, peace out, and bye-bye. Now we've gone off on a tangent.
No, rewind. Gonna get a
rewind.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be
See
a
you
trailer
then,
as well.
Selector.
That's what we need more of, Hasbro. Wooden horses.
Wooden Transformers, come on.
You cowards.
Sustainability.
Make it out of wood, it's recyclable, sort of.
Yeah.
Right.
Painted wood, that's good for the environment.
Sure.
Kind of. Unless you burn it.
All right, Extinction Rebellion, calm down. And on to commercial break. And now this is the partnership.
Sorry.
Why are you kicking? I'm doing the work.
Right, okay.
You compose yourself, darling.
I'm composed now. You said never go full Alexis, and I couldn't help it. Okay. You started doing it with a dancing.
I was doing going full Alexis again.
Wow. Wow.